It is Wade and Zared. Zared's back. Zared Coburn, all the way from New Zealand. I am currently in Canada. It's NFL in London, but we both met in London. So we'll get into the podcast and discuss that. Varying temperatures. Zared and I were talking. It's in the 40 degrees here and single digits in Kiwi Town. Frozen hobbits all over the road. We're going to go through because it's the Hall of Fame game this week. We got the first NFL bit this week. They've even got what's his face is going to quarterback.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is going to be quarterbacking. I guess in the game of his life, really, as Harbaugh gives him the start in San Diego. But it's nice to have football back, isn't it? Like the first little bit, we're in Canton, Hall of Fame game. Football's back, baby. Yeah, we're into like the 30 days. Are you excited?
Yes, I think it's going to be, well, you're just going to see all the backups and stuff like that. Maybe you'll have like one drive with the starters, well, a couple of starters sprinkled in, but it's something. They're giving us, water after we've been in the desert for a long time. I'm quite excited to see Hooker. I've always been a big fan of him I think he went to Tennessee. I know his age and everything like that.
Yeah.
Trey Lance, I think, is he's on his third team now, and if I don't know, we'll see if he's North Dakota State material. But yeah,
he's definitely North Dakota State material.
Yeah, but I just think Hooker is just obviously Goff's playing so well, but Hooker's in the background. When they brought in Teddy Bridgewater last year, I was a bit like, so is he not going to step up, or he hasn't stepped up? So yeah, I'm more excited to see Hooker.
Yeah, I mean it's just interesting. I mean, like Detroit, playing and two good teams. You could say potential Super Bowl matchup if so many different alternate universes happened or injuries or whatever, or the Chargers. And let's be honest, everyone's sort of been hoping that Justin Herbert can actually get a big game. Because they just always seem to choke out of the playoffs, and it's just a matter of ineptitude that sort of takes them down. The one thing we are starting to see, of course, in the training camps is injuries are starting to happen. The 49ers had like 3 yesterday. Cleveland's had few. Zach Moss, I think, is injured, and he's pretty much, is he gone for the season, or I don't know?
No, they've released him.
They released him, yeah. So, which also brings us to Christian Wilkins, who 4-year, $110 million deal with the Raiders. He gets released. Everyone's like, what's going on? They're like, he missed physicals. He this with his foot. He'd missed it, so we got rid of him. And then it's now saying it's because he kissed a guy on the head, which apparently he has a proclivity for kissing guys he loves on the head, or just kissing people on the head. Like everyone's a baby to him, and that's fine. But apparently some people are, I don't know if they're woke or not, man. I don't know what it is, but maybe there's something to it. I mean, Caleb has been saying, come to the Bears, let's get him for the Bears. Obviously, I don't know what happens in terms of the money deal like that when you have to walk away from it. But really, one of the most interesting things to start the season in terms of, you're fired for kissing a dude.
I think it sounds like it's more of a build-up of stuff, but he kind of seems like the class clown as it is. Like, I remember a time when he won the national championship with Clemson, I believe, and he actually gave, during the speech of the Clemson coach, he gave him a wet willy. Like,
Okay.
there's video of him giving him a straight wet willy. And so I think he's just had that personality where he's been the joker. And I think now with the professional side of the ball and the way I guess the Raiders are wanting to take this, but they're just not taking that immaturity, maybe. I don't know, but it just seems like football is a lads, it's kind of like rugby, it's always had that personalities. You're not going to have like guys that have done their doctorates or anything like that, but it's just, they're having fun and enjoying themselves. But he obviously took it a bit too far, but we're not getting the whole story, like it would be interesting to know what happens when it goes through the NFLPA and the grievance claim that's been filed in there. But it's going to be an interesting thing to follow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the ex-players or teammates of his are saying, he's just a weird guy. He's just a fun, kind of weird guy. Does weird guy justify firing? I don't know. It all depends on how, as you say, what direction that the Raiders want to take this in. And also, as you say, how's it represent the team? If, you got Pete Carroll, oldest coach in the league, and when a man kisses another man, well, we don't do that. So you sort of wonder, what the hell? I mean, it's just one of those sort of crazy things. But, it's not as crazy as someone trying to shoot people at the NFL, which is horrible. Guy never played professional football. Blame them for CTE.
Mm,
Takes the wrong elevator. It ends up still shooting one of the employees. Horrible news in America anytime a shooting happens. But it's also one of those weird controversies that the NFL finds itself mired into for no reason. Like, it's like, I blame the NFL for my divorce. It's like, well, okay, that
correct.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And was reading as well that he took the wrong elevator as well. So there was
Yeah.
also, yeah, he took the wrong elevator as you're saying, but then also that the security guard could have stopped him mid-travel because they've got apparently safety protocols, but he got shot. So there was a failing there. But
But,
yeah, I think it's
well,
he
obviously, him
them.
getting shot was the failing, it was the protocols of that
It was the
building. It's like,
protocol.
well, the security guard will stop him. Oh, he got shot. Oh, he's not going to stop him.
But apparently in that building they've got bulletproof doors in some of the safe in the bathrooms, so that's their safe rooms. So that's actually set up as bunker safety places. But it's just a crazy story, and yeah, obviously we'll find out more information in future. But it's been an
Yeah, I
interesting
mean,
thing
it's
to
one of those
follow for
things
the
I
last
think the
couple of days.
NFL does not want to bring up, or talk about, just like Donald Trump wanting to, if you're going to build the stadium in Washington, it's got to be called the Redskins. You're like, okay, that's a weird, the NFL just wants to get away from controversy, and you have people bring them into it. It's just sad, anytime, of course, in America, anytime somebody shoots someone or you have a mass shooting, but just some of the not good storylines to bring into the season. Obviously with training camps coming in, we're going to talk about a lot of NFL news and a couple other things we've got, but you know, we're still getting into contracts now being finally negotiated, whether it's McLaurin, Hendrickson from Cincinnati does not have his in yet. So there's a few other guys sort of looking outstanding that are sort of going, hey man, I've still got something going on. Are there any big ones to you that are a bit surprising that you're like, hey, this hasn't been sorted yet? Or
I think we were talking about it last week, but that Micah Parsons one is what everyone's talking
yeah,
about. And apparently that's come out as well that they're not even close. Like they're further
yeah,
away. I personally think it's the TJ Watt contract that came through with all the
sure,
guaranteed
yeah,
money. And then now Mike is going, well, there's all this guaranteed money on the table. And Jerry's like, no, that's not what
yeah,
we talked about. But he's left it so long that
yeah.
it's created this whole problem. So it's the same thing that's what happened with Dak, the same thing that would happen to CD Lamb. It's
Yeah.
just repeating itself, and Jerry's like, this is not what should happen. But Mike is like, pay me. I'm worth TJ Watt money. That's what he's saying.
I think it's also that Jones, obviously he's old school, but you have that ability that Jerry used to be, do things at the last minute. It's crunch time. You know, people don't want to not get paid. They're going to want it. They're going to see that they need this money. Guys, maybe certain guys live paycheck to paycheck. And now with probably some of these super, you know, agents and stuff like that, just sort of saying, well, actually, dude, we're going to make it so hard for you because all these other guys signed big contracts and suddenly the ball's in your court. So as you say, had they done this deal before the TJ Watt deal, Micah could have gotten paid for less money and not potentially been on the hook for what they might be on the hook for.
Yeah, it's just another saga in the Cowboys' phenomenal contract negotiations. It's just
Yeah.
one cluster after another, and they all just say every year we're gonna win the Super Bowl, we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've got it, but it's just yeah, it's not happening. So
Well, like anytime, you start losing key elements of the team. And, when Dallas had a great record a couple years ago, you're like, oh, this team looks like they could be something you built on. And now you've got, not as good of a team. You've lost a lot of your running game. You've lost some of the other guys' receiving core that you had. You lost the offensive line. And then you start looking and going, okay, well, what are you going to go off the back of it? Because $60 million man, if he doesn't have any tools, if he doesn't have any protection, it sorely becomes clear what kind of quarterback he is. And also, even worse, if he just gets pummeled and you get injured again, he's not getting any younger that I know of, unless he's done to deal with the devil. But you would think it's like, okay, well, you got to do something at this point. Like, you don't want to have to hit the hard reset at some point, because that's what it's going to look like. You're going to spend all this money, nothing to show for it. And it was only because of your own ineptitude that you did not try to sign these guys, try to get this stuff down. It's sort of a clusterfuck.
it is, and you can tell by their secondary as well. Like the secondary is just I think they've had another injury as well, and then even then linebacker position as well. So it's just they've got no younger talent coming through and taking on, and even Diggs as well is just constant
Yeah.
injuries. But then also he's just the only guy there, and he's not. They had another pick come through, but then they didn't want to pay him, so he left.
Yeah.
It's just another, as you say, it's just another Cowboys moment.
Yeah. I mean, so one of the things we said we talk about is you want to talk about some of the running backs and some of the rookie running backs. I mean, we start with the clear favorite, the clear guy who with the weight on his shoulders is Ashton Genty from the Raiders. First round, number 6 pick. I mean, this is a guy that lit it up. We've had some college running backs that don't light it up and some guys that surprise you. But, with the rebuild that the Raiders have, and, obviously with Geno there at the forefront, Genty seems to have, all eyes will be on him. And a lot of people, like in other drafts, a lot of people will go nuts and try to grab him, just like they had Bijan and go, oh, actually didn't get me as many points as I was hoping.
I think if we're talking, oh yeah, we'll talk about Ashton Genty first. But
Yeah.
sorry, I just keep tsunami warnings keep going off, so apologies for this. But
Why was there no? You're getting tsunami warnings? Oh yeah, because of
yeah, we're
that
getting
earth.
tsunami warning, so apologies.
That's okay. I can't even hear it there. I guess that's why it'd be good. We don't have
Oh,
those in
sorry.
Canada.
So yeah, Ashton Genty. So Ashton Genty, he surprised me not winning the Heisman. I was absolutely surprised he didn't win the Heisman. Yeah, Travis Hunter obviously deserving, but the season he had last season, season he had at Boise State with the offensive line and the players he had, yes, it was the league he was in, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just phenomenal. If you watch his highlight reel, it is absolutely stunning. Size and his weight and the amount he can move his body and stop and actually just have players fly by him is absolutely phenomenal. Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
obviously with his pedigree with the running most of the time, is just a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
I think the offensive line is going to be the thing that's going to open the gaps for Genty, and that will develop. But it's early days, and he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and there's going to be a lot of run the ball. But it's just, yeah, it's a phenomenal talent to have, and I think he's in a better situation than what Bijan was when he came into the league. Obviously, Arthur
Mm-hmm.
Smith was limiting Bijan's capacity, and he's
Yeah.
gone. You've got such a talent there that it can
Yeah.
run the ball phenomenally in a bad offensive line when he had at Boise State. Obviously, the competition's going to be way more harder, and they can actually tackle properly.
Sure.
It's just, I just love Aston Genty. I think whatever will happen. But he's destined for success. I know that people won't throw out that call, but it's just you look at, yeah, it's just a phenomenal athlete. I just can't. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
just a great situation.
I think it's also you've got Chip Kelly, who when he was with the Eagles, heavy run, and the only real competition is you've got Raheem Mostert and Sincere McCormick, who I don't think anyone's really know of, but Mostert obviously might be, but Genty, as you say, breaking away from that and being able to use them sort of split and see what they can do with it, see what Pete Carroll does. But Chip Kelly is obviously going to focus in on getting this running game going, focusing on grinding the ball and sort of pounding it down the field. So I think a lot of people, if it comes to running backs, I'm not going to choose him first, but he'd be one of those ones for a second RB I would pick.
Quickly, I think McCormick last season, I think Ross Mostert's old, but McCormick last season did have flashes, and he has
Yeah,
a good 1-2 punch. I think Mostert obviously is at that age where he's going to fall off. It's just inevitable, just with his running style and the way he does. I think McCormick did have a, a good season,
mm-hmm.
and they were trying to rely on him a bit with all the injuries they had. But Genty, I just can't go past that. I know you're not gonna. I personally not gonna to overpay for him, but it's
Yeah.
just I just think he's destined for success.
Who's the next running back that you had just your eye on, or one of the ones that you think is an interesting for a rookie?
I like Henderson as well out of
Okay.
Ohio State, who's the Patriots. I think
Yep.
he's with Mike Vrabel and Mike McDaniels
Yep.
have been in coaching hell in previous years, and they've got the opportunity now with the Patriots under Vrabel's kind of Kraft's boy. He was waiting
Yeah.
around for him, I think. So yeah, obviously that defensive mind, but Michael McDaniels, I think, has had obviously past success, not with the Raiders, but Loved him at Ohio State. I think he's a little bit small. I think he's in kilos. He's 92
5'10",
kilos.
like 200,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
correct. Which is why he went a little bit later and
Yeah.
and went behind Jerkins as well. But it's just if you watched him at Ohio State and just the way he sees the gap and the way he just is just and it's kind of what the Patriots have been lacking. I know that they have had Ramondre Stevenson, but
Yeah.
I
He
think
dropped
it's
too many
just a better
balls.
talent.
I think they were
Dropped too
benching
many
him last
balls,
year.
but it's just that caliber. When you've gone to Ohio State and you're a running back, you've got
Yeah.
that. There's that 5-star potential. So I think when he's in a perfect situation, I think he did over 1,000 yards last season, and
Yeah.
and a lot of his touchdowns were long range touchdowns as well. They weren't, and a good pass catching running back as well. So he's shown that flash of that
Yeah.
1-2 punch in Ohio State, but I think he's going to be the main guy there. I think they're going to try and ride him. Yes, it's the weight and the height. He's not kind of that three-day bell cow, but it's going to have to be his role to lose.
Yeah, I mean Stevenson we sort of mentioned, like, I had him. He had some flashes last year. It was good. You're like, oh my god, it's get me some fantasy points, and then you just watch him jumbly the balls, and it's like, oh my god, dude, get it together. So yeah, I mean that I think it'll be good. And as to your point, I think Vrabel is going to have, based on Drake May, I think they are going to want to have some option running backs that can sort of take the ball and go with it. Maybe that's better suited for his height because he's not really going to break through the line at that weight and size. You know, I think the other
But he
one's
he
interesting. Go ahead.
sorry about that, but he wasn't the kind of running back that did break the tackle. Like he was the gap guy. So
Hmm.
I think that's kind of suited him with what he's been put into. So if you watch a lot of his highlights, he wasn't that break the tackle like Mario Hampton. When you watch
Yeah,
Mario Hampton, he was shrugging off guys through the line at UNC at North Carolina. And that's his game, where Henderson wasn't that
yeah.
his game. He was speed through the gap as fast as you can, move as fast as you can, which suits.
The one interesting guy I would say is Omarion Hampton with the Chargers, because obviously Pittsburgh traded Najee Harris there. There was issues with Harris in terms of reliability, but it's going to be interesting to see how Harbaugh and Greg Roman use Omarion, because this is a top, he was round one pick. Guy was pretty breakout in college, and he's a big guy, and he's got those yards after carry, which are pretty good. Likes to bang in and keep going. What do you think about him in terms of how he'll be used by Herbert and, just the Chargers in itself with the running game?
I'm I've I've had this discussion with one of my league mates just before this on the weekend, but I think Amari Hampton is 2,000 all-purpose yards at UNC. I think he
Yeah,
was obviously first round pick, but so he wasn't underrated. But I think his performance leads into that top 5 RB in the future. I think the
yeah.
situation wise at the Chargers with Hubble run first offense
Hmm.
with Herbert there as well now with Ladd and some good draft picks has set him up for success. Really,
Yeah,
he's in such a good situation there where Hubble's going to run the rock and he's going to bump through tackles, and that's exactly what they want him to do. And now with the Najee suffering an eye injury, I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation around his and lack of performance at
yeah.
Pittsburgh. He can't run through the tackles. He's
No,
he's slow, so that's soon going to be found out. And Amari's definitely not that guy. He is going to have the running back rookie, issue where it's going to slow to take off. But come playoff time is exactly where you want him to be, and he's going to develop in that position. Not every single rookie we're talking about is going to be a flash in year
no,
one,
God, no.
but he's the chance to. He's definitely in the right situation. He's he's got that pedigree as well. He's fast. He's a 4.46, I think he was, in his 40-yard time. So, and just the yards he did at UNC against good competition as well. We're not talking about GNT competition and I think
Yeah,
the Mountain State League, but he was playing at UNC, so he's playing against good opposition. And I was watching a lot of his film just recently, and I was impressed just with his breakthrough tackles. Uh, not as explosive as Henderson, but that's because the weight. He's a different kind of running back and great situation.
yeah. Who would be your next of the rookie running backs? Who would be sort of the next one that you would sort of keep an eye on, or you think that might be interesting? because
I know we were
for
talking
rookie
about,
class.
yeah, I know we were talking about Arthur Smith and the worry around him, how he runs his offense.
Yeah.
I know Mike's going to have a big say over it, but Caleb Johnson, I believe, from Iowa, he was
Okay.
proven 3-year running back at Iowa,
Yeah.
had had good runs, was very reliable, is a later round pick. I
Yeah.
think the situation wise, and the Steelers have always been a run team as well, where they've relied on that run in times of need. He does have competition in Warren, but I think he's the one to watch as well, and that will develop as well. He's going to be the lead back there. It just might take some time, and he does have a little bit of competition, including his offensive coordinator that will stop him getting the ball in the situation you need him to.
Yeah. What
Not
about
that I'm
look looking about the Cleveland Browns? They got Quinshon Judkins, big guy, tough runner, did well at the combine. Obviously, it used to be that the Browns had a pretty good 1-2 punch in running back, and the running game seemed to have fallen apart a little bit. You got Jerome Ford, and then another rookie in Dylan Sampson. But how do you think that Quinshon Judkins will come in in terms of his size and comparable to Jerome Ford?
Will he come in though? I think he's having cases of my worry is that he's got court cases against him and that he might not actually enter the league, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I think he pedigree obviously Ohio State
Yeah,
and there's if you watch his highlight film it speaks for itself. I think there's a reason why he was drafted where he was and the Browns have always relied on the run.
yeah,
He's a great player. It's just I want to make sure that he actually plays. But that's my scarcity really. But
yeah. No, of
if he's
course.
on the field, he's going to be great. But Jerome Ford has proven. I think he's a better back than Jerome Ford. Let's just
Yeah,
say that. And Jerome Ford has been a good addition,
yeah,
and especially not spent a lot of capital on him. But they're gonna want their pound of flesh out of Jerkins, and he's going to have to deliver the run game that the Browns need, whoever their QB is.
yeah. Um. So I mean, the Denver Broncos recently just did a big contract with Cortland Sutton. They're sort of de facto wide receiver, but they've got running back R.J. Harvey, who is tiny. He's like 5'8", 205. Pretty good in college.
Was
Was pretty good in college, but how do you find him in terms of what Bo Nix is doing, what Sean Payton's doing with his offense, and how they'll spread him around? Because he's one of those sort of pocket rocket kind of guys that, that he can get going when he gets some speed, even though he's tiny. And, he was one of the fastest guys at the combine. So when he gets going, he's really tough to stop. What do you think his projections will be like in Denver?
I think he's got competition with J.K. Dobbins, and that was a worry. Everyone was quite high on R.J. Harvey when he
Yeah,
came in, especially great situation. Denver and Sean Payton offense have always been run heavy and relied on the run. Relied
yeah,
on the run. It's not been run heavy, but from UCF, which was a great team, and they had a couple of good seasons. I think was one of the highest run yards in the league last year with RJ
yeah,
Harvey, but I think he's got that competition. I think his talent will shine through, but J.K.
hmm
Dobbins is hard to go away from. I know he's had multiple injuries,
yeah.
but he's a talent as well. J.K. Dobbins coming in is a serious threat to RJ Harvey and has pushed him down people's boards because of that. It's just how he
It's
will
hard to
shine and
see,
when it
to
will
your point,
happen.
though, how Dobbins doesn't get injured again. I mean, I'm just trying to think of him. I've had him in fantasy a season where he has not been injured.
But
So,
you can,
yeah,
but if you want to take on that point, you're not going to. From you saying that point, you're not going to take McCaffrey, then, are you?
I wouldn't take McCaffrey. That's just me. But every year I think this could be the year he gets injured, and some years I'm right.
Well, most of the years you've been right, but it's just at the Ravens, he was I remember he'd had those massive keyhole marks in his knee from when he came back
Yeah,
from injury, and they showed out of his uniform. So you're right. If he does get injured again, then you'll have RJ Harvey in the perfect position. But RJ Harvey's going to lose carries to Dobbins until you lose that person. But put him on your bench. It's going to be
yeah,
a later pickup, and then he's in a great position. So if you've got a bench and you can put him on there, why wouldn't you?
yeah. No, it's going to be that week 5 when everyone's doing furious waiver wires. Oh my God, I need this guy. I've lost 2 running backs. Who else sticks out in your mind as a rookie to watch this year, Zared?
I think we said it before, but Higgins. If we're going to talk about rookies rather than just rookie running backs, because now I think Higgins at Houston is in a good position, taking over that Tank Dell role. Really
Yeah,
good player, and Collins is obviously going to be the number 1 guy there, and he's probably
yeah.
going to be top 3 wide receiver this year. But Higgins, with his draft capital, what he did at college, in a really good position. There's no one in front of him for that role, for his situation as a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
With now Stephon Diggs going to the Patriots, if you watch his highlight reel, I know I go back to that, but he's just impressed me quite a lot just with what he did and his catching radius as well. When he's been followed down the line with a corner, he's easily been able to
Mm-hmm.
catch the ball, score a lot of touchdowns. So Higgins is definitely a put on my bench player, but a lot of people have done that already.
What about? I'm going back to the running back though again because there's a couple other names that stuck out to me, and one of them is Travis Etienne's brother, Trevor, who signed with the Panthers, and he played for Florida, he played for Georgia. He was good on third downs, but he's again 5'8", and he's only like 21 years old. Carolina signed Rico Dowdle from
Yes.
from the Cowboys, but they've also got a good Canadian guy, Chuba Hubbard, and then of course Jonathan Brooks eventually as well, who tore his ACL. But how
I'm
do you
missing
find
one.
him in this?
Sorry,
What's
keep
that?
going. Oh, it
I'm
was
just
just one
I'm
popped into my head.
who?
Scatterbro.
What's that?
Scatterbro, rookie.
Oh yeah, okay. That's
Yeah,
another one to mention as well. But I'm just trying to think of like how he'll fit in because obviously Hubbard did really well, and you wonder about his durability. And then of course Rico Dowdle, who again is a little bit smaller. So you just sort of wonder how I don't know. It's always interesting when you have 2 brothers in the league, particularly when Carolina plays Jacksonville, the
yeah.
Redneck Bowl, I guess they call that one. But you were
I
talking about
was
Cam Scatabo from the Giants.
Yeah, sorry. Just on your point with Carolina, I think I
Yeah,
was surprised. I was surprised Hubbard was outperformed of what he did. I think everyone was a little bit shocked about when he came into the league, what he did and what he accomplished. You're right, Rico Daddle's small, but everyone's got an opportunity in their backfield. If Hubbard can do it, I think anybody can. And then Scatterbro as well. I know I turn into the meme of Bart Simpson do not get overexcited about training
yeah,
camp videos, but Scatterbro dropping off players like crazy in
yeah,
the Giants practice. The defense they do have as well in the Giants. I've watched a lot of defensive Adel Carter videos, but he seems to be the real deal. I don't know,
sure,
getting too excited there, but Arizona State. There's the famous run where he runs through the whole team and drops off the whole team, but
yeah,
the whole defense and scores a touchdown is what everyone's been excited for it to see. And he seems to be like he's dropping off Giants defenders like crazy as well. So I don't know. I'm just not getting too excited about it just because there's a lot bigger defenses in that division than the Giants defense, aka
yeah,
the Eagles. But he's pretty decent, it seems like. Obviously a bit slow, so that's
yeah.
gonna count against
Well, he's a
him.
little bigger. He's almost 6 feet. He's like 5'11" and a
Mm,
bit, and
mm.
which is a little bigger for a running back. But I mean, you also had Tyrone Tracy Jr. in New York last year, who was had a not bad season, considering that how crappy that they were, but able to get the ball out, being able to move around, and I think that was that was a good thing for them, considering just how bad the QB position was for the Giants last year. You did have some sort of wild card kind of guys in there, like the Cowboys picking up Jaden Blue,
Yeah.
and then you've got the Cowboys. They've got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and now this Jaden Blue. I mean, the Cowboys used to be kind of innovators in having a good good running backs, but taking Williams and Sanders, it feels like they're maybe a bit tired. I don't know. And what are you going to do? Because the Cowboys' offensive line is not what it used to be. This was a guy, they took him in the 5th round, but, he was in a crowded Texas team last year. Do you think he'll have any impact in this team, or are we one of those guys you just don't even hear from?
I think I think Cowboys have always got the opportunity to be great when it comes to running back, but they've always spent a lot of draft capital on premium running backs as well. Zeke is the common example, but um, John, they've tried to do the patch job as well, where they don't have much money to spend. Like Sanders was
Hmm.
extremely unimpressive at the Carolina, and Javonte Williams has got to have a bounce back because he impressed in Denver and has never been. Jaden Blue has got a chance to be there. Texas obviously have produced some really good running backs of recent years.
Yeah.
It's I remember when came out with Juice Vaughn and they were saying this is our next big guy, and this is, they just kept him on the roster, and now he's fourth string.
Yeah.
It's are they just trying to have a patch job and seeing if it flies? But it's going to be a dart throw, I think. If Jaden Blue, I haven't seen much on him. As you
Yeah.
say, he was crowded in the Texas backfield. It was not the same player that I thought he would be, standing out as a fifth round pick, but I thought he was going to go a little bit later.
I don't know if he's related to Bonnie Blue. I'm not sure. I'm going to Google that. The girl who slept with 1,070 guys. But if he could fuck 1,000 guys in a season, he could he could definitely not play for the Raiders because they do not like that. Lastly, let me ask you about your guy. You guys picked up, so you guys got a crowded running back room as well. You got old man Kamara, but you took Devin Neal in the 6th round. 5'11", 215. But you've also got another bit of a crowded backfield. You got Kendra Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Who else did you guys? You got picked up someone else too, didn't you? Trade for
No
someone? I don't know.
names.
Can't remember.
I think that's the top four anyway.
Yeah, but
Clyde
crowded.
Helaire. Yeah, very
Yeah.
crowded. Very crowded. Yeah, it's just a every time someone talks to me about the Saints running back room is just a good question about what it's going to be. No one's kind of sure around the drop Kamara's going to have and when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Miller is just one injury after another after coming out of TCU and having phenomenal seasons at TCU and then making the semifinals.
Hmm.
Oh, I can't even remember if they made, but they made they made the national championship playoffs with him, and he was great. And then we thought we were going to have another great running back room, and it's just been one injury after the other. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, obviously LSU guy, local, so it's a good little
Coming
story
home.
coming home. Yeah, Neil I think is the one to watch for me. He's got traits of Kamara, and all over his game. He was doing that at Kansas, and he's 5'11" and 213, but it's just he's in a great position to take over for Kamara if he is what he says he is, because he was good at Kansas, and but it's just, I think it's a rebuild. It's rebuild from the offensive line out, the Saints really,
Yeah.
and we'll wait and see if Archie comes next season or if we draft him the season after.
Tank for Manning. Yeah. Let's go through. So I sent you some. What kind of happened? Most likely to happen scenarios, some hypotheticals as to things that might happen for this season. I'll go through each division. There's one for each team, and you can tell me of all of them, what do you think is most likely to happen? So we'll start with the AFC East. My first one is the Dolphins are last place in the division. Number 2, the Jets win 7 games. 3 is Josh Allen gets injured. And 4, Drake May is a top 5 quarterback. Of all of those things, what do you think is most likely to happen?
This was the hard one that I got sent. It was the most hard. The ones I'm thinking about is Miami finishing last because
Yeah.
of the news that's just come out of their quarterback room is non-existent from last year. They do not have a single player available on their
Mm-hmm.
roster that played last year in their secondary, sorry. And Drake May being top 5. I think
Yeah.
Drake May is could surprise people.
Yeah.
He's got a second year, and I think he could surprise people of how good he could be and what weapons they have given him. Could be a top 5 guy. There's a possibility, but Miami probably finishing last is going to pip that one.
Yeah, I would think that's most likely. I think, the Jets, it's going to be between obviously the Jets and Miami because both of us agreed last week, the Patriots don't look that bad. So they shouldn't be that bad. But, the Dolphins, just if they go on a funk, if Tua gets hurt, and they don't have enough depth there that you're going to go, okay, what what's going on with his team. You just sort of watch a team that was crushing people a couple of years ago to just getting stomped. Let's move to the AFC North, where I have 4 other hypotheticals. The Steelers take the division. The Bengals start 0-5. Derrick Henry is the number 1 running back, or the Browns win 7 games.
These are really good questions.
They are good.
Makes you
Thank you.
think
I wrote
they.
them.
Yeah,
No chat
exactly.
GTP, just me.
It's really good. That's a hard one. Derrick Henry being the RB1, and maybe the Steelers winning the division.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say. I don't see Browns winning 7 games. I'm sorry, I just
No.
don't see it. And if that's the case, then the Saints are in a hell of trouble. Well, they're actually in a good position for their first overall pick, but I think we'll go with Derrick Henry being RB1.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the Bengals starting 0-5 would not surprise me, given their defense and how they start and how they do things. But the Steelers taking the division, I don't know. Everyone's gushing over, oh, Aaron Rodgers and his quick snap release. Oh my God, he's so fast. And it's like, yeah, he does have a quick snap, but he also doesn't have quick legs. So he's got to have that. It's sort of an, adaptability that he's got to have. So yeah, a lot of them, but again, Bengals wouldn't surprise me. Henry, again, I mean, there's a lot of weight on his shoulders, obviously, but then watching Saquon take it, he's got to be like, this has got to be my year. So yeah, I think those are pretty close.
But Steelers winning the division with the defense they have as well, not just
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, but that Alexander signed there. Is that right? Is that my wrong team? No, sorry, Jalen Ramsey. Sorry, Jalen Ramsey there. It's just been it's a good fit. So their defense kept them in games last season. So
their
that's
defense
why
did,
I
and
took
they
that
played.
kind of.
Yeah, and they played everyone in their division tough. Like, it's one of those things where, you always have one team in the division, you think, oh, we're going to run over them. Steelers are not that team. It's like, oh, Christ, we got to face TJ Watt again. We've got these guys. And Tomlin has that ability to sort of choke me, daddy, that kind of keep people in check. So I don't know if anyone ever says that to him. Let's move to the South, where, number 1 pick is playing. So will Cam Ward be the rookie of the year? Will Richardson become the starting quarterback? The Jags win the division, or will the Texans win 11 games? Which of these do you think is most likely to happen?
I think Texans winning 11 games. I think they've got the potential to win 11 games. Cam Ward could definitely do the rookie of the year, but there's just so much competition. But there's some great players that have come through. I know that awards normally go to the QB position. I just don't, you got Calvin Ridley there, and that's about it. So I just don't see that. Richardson is a possibility, but what people are saying out of camp, but that's camp. And the Jags winning the division, I just don't see that happening. Not with the division they're in.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of pressure. I think there was a lot of BS maybe that Richardson may have felt directed at him last year, because it's like, oh, he doesn't work hard enough. He doesn't do this. He's making bad decisions. When you had a guy who had a pretty breakout rookie year, then he's got the sophomore slump. So you wonder if that's going to motivate him to go, you know what, screw you, Daniel Johnson, Daniel Jones, whatever you DJ is. I'm going to take this role for myself. Let's move into the AFC West then for our hypothetical what's most likely to happen question. AFC West, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed. The Broncos win 11 games. The Chargers don't make the playoffs, or the Raiders win 8 games.
I think all of these things could happen.
Yeah.
I don't see, there's a possibility the Chiefs could win top seed. I think I'll take that one. But I do see the Broncos winning 11 games. I think, as you say, with what we've just said in their defense and what their additions have done, that's definitely a possibility. Chargers, with all this crowded with this crowded West, it's going to be hard for everyone to make the playoffs. So they could drop out of the playoffs as well. And Raiders winning 8 games, there's they've got the tools to do it. So, but I'm still going to go with the Chiefs being number 1 seed.
Yeah, to your point, all 4 of those things are could be potentially happen. But to what you're saying and what I think too, I could see the Chiefs, depending on how they do it. They've made adjustments. They still have 2 of the best coaches in the game, and they still have Mahomes, who makes it look easy. It's just one of those things. I remember just hating on Brady, and you just watch it and you just see, him make moves. It's like, God damn it. Like, look at that kid go. All right, let's move into the NFC East, where we'll say what could happen, what's most likely to happen. Philly wins less than 10 games. Dallas wins the division. Russell Wilson is a top 10 quarterback. Washington wins the division. Now, most likely, what do you think is most likely of all of these things to potentially happen?
Oh, these Washington winning the division would be wonderful. I think that would be
Mm-hmm.
amazing. There's a possibility.
Sure.
There's a possibility. Philly could stumble. Philly could have injuries. There's there's definitely a chance of the under. Very unlikely, but I think Washington winning the division. I think Jaden Daniels, he might have a slump, but there's a possibility he could step up and be better than what he was last year. So I'm gonna hang my hat on the hope of Washington winning the division.
Yeah, I could see that one as well. I mean, Russell Wilson becoming a top 10, I think, is the most far-fetched one. It just seems like even for the past couple of years, he's lost his zip. He just seems to be, I don't know, just seems to be checking in for the job and not really competing, you know? But who knows? I mean, he doesn't seem to have the same steps that he used to. So I think that'll be probably the least likely. Let's move into the NFC North. The Bear QB. The Packers are the worst in the division. AJ wins rookie, or I had rookie of the year, but it's not rookie of the year. I'm going to go offensive player because he's not a rookie, right? So I don't know why I put rookie of the year. So let's
No,
just
he
go
can't class him as that.
offensive player of the year, or Lions win the NFC Championship. So JJ, let's just say he's the top quarterback instead of rookie of the year. I don't know why I had rookie of the year down there, but
I think because you
I
just
wrote.
didn't, no one saw him really last year, so the
Yeah,
injury
well, I
riddled
guess that's
season.
why,
So
because
you
it's
can,
first time seeing him. But
yeah,
maybe the breakout quarterback. Let's just say that is JJ the breakout quarterback instead of
yeah.
that one. So Caleb top 5 QB, Packers worst in the division. JJ is a breakout quarterback. Lions win the NFC Championship.
Lions winning the NFC Championship. I think
Yeah,
you've got Caleb has got potential to be the top 5 QB. I just don't think it's going to come yet. I think he's got more time to develop in that
hater.
role. I knew you were going to say that. Packers are definitely not going to be the worst in the division.
But come on,
I Yeah, I
one
know.
can hope.
Everyone can hope and everyone can and dream, but they've got they've got too many weapons on the offense to be that bad.
You
And
think
JJ,
so?
uh,
Yeah,
JJ, I'm not high on JJ. I think
yeah,
comeback player of the year, you could possibly say, but
yeah,
he's got the weapons around him to do that. But I think the Lions winning the NFC Championship, they were devastated by injury last year.
yeah,
That cost them dearly. I think they did so well for the injuries they had on defense. It's just they literally found a way to win on multiple occasions and had a lot of grit. If we want to
yeah,
take the line that they publish on hats, but the weapons they have with Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, Hawkinson is just sorry, not Hawkinson, old.
yeah, yeah.
Laporta. It's yeah. I just don't see them not taking too much regression back, even with losing Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Lions; they're pretty close to losing to the Bucks last year. So, I mean, there's got to be some, they are close games. They did have some ones where they blew people out. And you're like, oh, damn, the fantasy points are cha-ching, cha-ching, but then the clutch game. So it's going to be all to deliver in those clutch games. But I definitely agree with you. The Packers should be last in the division. Let's move in to the NFC South. Your division where we got a few different things to consider here. Your Saints win less than 5 games. Cousins is traded from Atlanta. Bucky Irving is a top 5 running back, or the Panthers win 9 games. Which of these do you think is most likely to happen?
Bucky being a
You?
top 5 RB is very, very appealing.
Yeah,
I'm a big Bucky fan. Had him last year and screaming from the rooftops about how great he was and how I'm a genius for finding him, which completely is false. But the Saints winning five less than 5 games is a
most.
betting possibility. I think
Yeah,
is it 4.5 or is it 5.5?
5.5.
5.5. So I will
Going
I will
4 and
take the
13.
over. I'll take the over on the Saints winning more than
Yeah.
5. But that's because I'm quite biased. Cousins being
Oh no.
traded is a huge possibility.
Yeah.
That contract sitting there, but I think everyone saw how he played last year,
Yeah.
and how the it might have been affected by injury.
Sure.
And so people might be hopeful for that, but there's going to be a time when there'll be a QB get injured in the league, and someone's going to have to keep their season alive, and Cousins is sitting there,
Yeah.
so that is a huge possibility. So
Tap on curtain. Do you like that?
Exactly. Do you like that? Do you like that?
Yeah.
Panthers winning 9 games. I don't think that's a possibility, but I'm very biased. But Cousins getting traded. I'm just going to be blinded by not looking at the other three, and I'm going to say Cousins going to be traded.
Okay. You're not going to take Saints less than 5. Okay. I could see Bucky Irvin being a top 5. I think they're going to use the hell out of him. But that'd be one of the ones I think he's going to really show some grit. Some of the, what we saw a lot of last year too. A lot of people like, oh, the running backs are dead. No one cares. And then these running backs come back with a ferocity. And you're like, oh, okay, the running backs aren't dead.
Pass catching running backs are cheat codes. Pass catching running
Yes.
backs like Bucky is just, he's not built to be the way he is, but you've got to also realize that you've got Rashad White sitting there and he'll come on the field and be inefficient as hell. And they won't realize that they've got Bucky sitting there, but they're just doing it to give Bucky a rest. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that scares me with the Bucks running back room, is that him being a top 5 is kind of hindered. But we've seen times where in previous years where the second RB gets injured and literally that RB1 literally turns into an elite RB.
Just rips it up. Let's go to the last last one here then of the most likely to happen in the NFC West. Number 1, 49ers are worse in the division. Number 2, Matt Stafford gets injured. 3, Cardinals win the division. And number 4, Seahawks win more than 9 games.
Yeah. 49ers being the worst in the division, I think, with their losses on defense. And they do have a lot of injury issues in their team that they have to deal with on multiple occasions. And then Stafford is already injured with a shoulder, I believe.
Well, they're saying,
he's
he's coming back. He should be back. They're hoping he's going to be back for week 1. So, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that.
And then Cardinals have
Cardinals
set
winning the
themselves.
division.
Yeah, Cardinals have done a lot on defense. I think teams of old where you've always ridden off the Cardinals defense of recent history and never really thought about playing them unless you've got a situation. But they've put a lot of effort into that. We're going to see are we going to see an MHJ rebound? McBride's obviously going to catch a lot of ball. The competition in that league, in that division is extremely high, and the amount of money that's been spent in the Rams offense is impressive with bringing in Adams. So Seahawks winning 9 games. Yeah, I just don't like Sam Darnold, and I've never been a big fan. Do you know what their win total is for the?
I think it's 8.5.
Okay, there you go.
It might even be 7.5. We did it on the one podcast.
Okay, it might have moved. You've probably, if I was going to pick one of those out of there, I don't hope for injury, but seeing that he's got a lingering problem, I'd say Matt Stafford.
Yeah, he always seems like one of those guys, like one of those grizzled Hollywood guys. Let me just put it back in and I'm ready to go. And you're like, oh, man. You wonder, sort of bridge too far, that kind of stuff. And his wife seems to be on every podcast in the world talking up stuff. But, the guy's injured. He's injured now. But you just wonder if it's going to be that one hit where it pops it back out again. So I could see the Niners dropping the worst, Cardinals winning. I don't know, but I would think Stafford gets injured again. I hate to call on the poo-poo stuff, but it just seems when you've got certain guys, and just the seasons, like it just adds up on guys, and you're just trying to avoid the hits, and going to a point where you just don't get knocked out is very difficult these days. Particularly as the veterans know, you got to get ready for training camp because you go in there and you see the rookies trying so hard, and then they get injured because they're like, I want to make an impression. And then you end up like tearing an ACL or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it for this podcast. Anything else you want to talk about on here? Any other news? Anything? We got fantasy coming up. I think the last thing is because we use the NFL app for the past couple of years, and it was dog shite in the past. It's gotten worse. So I think the plan is because we do it, we're switching to Sleepr this year because I've been told it's the best. I've used ESPN and I've used Yahoo. What do you think for any of our fans out there who are looking? Because the NFL one was just so buggy last year, couldn't set on certain times. You couldn't do these mock drafts. It wasn't working. It was just a pain in the butt. And it seems like they just ignored their own product. So what are your thoughts and what would you recommend? Because you're obviously in my fantasy league. So which do you think?
I think, yeah, I've played on multiple platforms and I've been in like 5 leagues in a year. I've dropped it down to 2 in the past year.
Wife and kids,
I think normally Pardon me, sorry?
Because you got wife and kids.
That's exactly right. And I've just got other commitments that I've promised myself to. So and having multiple apps. So I think a lot of people start on the NFL app just because it's
Yeah.
what you know. And it's, you've got all your history, you've got all your trophies on there, and it makes it all nice. But it just put a lot of people off last year with the amount of bugs that they had, and you couldn't get into the app multiple times. You had to go into the computer to change players, especially for waiver wires and stuff. So I've used ESPN previously as well. Some people swear by it,
Yeah.
and use it and love it. Never used Yahoo, but Sleepr is just absolute phenomenal. They've got so many settings you can change on your league, so many different changes that can be made. It's just a really good setup that they've created. It's kind of like a cheat code as well that they have player news that pop up as well when there's a player being injured, and someone reports it, they'll pop it up on your phone. So you can instantly go in and make changes when injuries occur to players, that you can go into the free agency and pick them up straight away before your other league mates do. So they've put a lot of effort into their usability, and it's just a nice, easy app to use. And I was very hesitant when one of my league mates suggested it, and we were on ESPN, and he was like, "We should use Sleepr," and I was like, very apprehensive, and because it's what I've known, but people
Yeah.
that have made the change over to Sleepr have been extremely impressed.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. Our buddy Andre had mentioned that he's in it, and there's a lot of dynasty leagues and stuff like that you can have. I guess I've used the other ones. I liked Yahoo, actually, because I didn't even think Yahoo existed. It was like a browser. And obviously they try to get you to sign up for Yahoo, but I do my Pick'em League in Yahoo, and it works well. And when I was able to do the Pick'em and the Fantasy League, they both worked quite well. But for a Pick'em League, I've used it. I like it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clear. The only thing they didn't have is we did have a draft on Yahoo as well, but because you want to be able to draft on it. But the
Yes.
drafting last year, previously used drafting software, and we used draft. I can't remember what it was, game draft or something like that. I can't remember it.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah, they were good, but then now everyone is just all the apps have now built it right into it. So I'm gonna have a little thing, but I'll be sending out emails for our Sleepr thing. Yeah.
Well, Sleepr, you can have it up on the TV, and then everyone can have their app in their hand, and they
Yeah.
literally pick it on literally the auctioneer or the head of master of ceremonies just stands up there and just says, "This is what's being picked now. You don't have to lean down into
Yeah.
your computer and move them
Yeah.
over. You can literally go, this is the player I want. This is the player I want."
Yeah, no, I've heard it's really
just
good for
usability.
that. So I'm gonna download it and do a little playing around with it, because I know they got some mock drafts in there. So that's about it. Any other NFL news you wanna announce or anything like that? No, I'm gonna see you hopefully in.
Yes, you will.
Gonna,
So NFL
yeah.
news is that we'll see each other for a game over in LA. So I'm
Yes.
going to be flying over on to Vegas and then go to LA for the game on the 2nd of November, I believe it is, or 1st of November, the 2nd of November, and that
So
time for
November
the
2nd,
Saints
yeah.
versus Rams. So watch hopefully one of our wins. Doubt it, but
Nice. I doubt it either. But LA, it's fun because the stadium is right near the airport. So
it is. I've looked
you
at
don't
it.
even have to go into downtown and have a homeless person steal your bags.
No.
You can have them steal it right at the stadium.
There's a Costco across the road as well. They do tailgating there as well. Limited tailgating.
Yeah.
I've looked at. So we can go get 50 beers or something like that. But
Yeah, just sit in the parking lot.
it's in the parking lot. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's just one of the games I really I wanted to go to a game that I haven't been for a while. So I was just I'll take whatever I can get. Even this weekend's going to be fun. For this weekend's game, I'm just hungry for NFL football.
Yeah, me too. And I'd like to see SoFi. So it's one of the few stadiums I haven't been to. So it's going to be interesting to fly down there, see it. Yeah, I've got some friends in LA. So I'm not even going to call them. I'll just do pictures. And afterwards on Facebook, they'll be like, "Wait, you were in LA? You didn't call me?" Like, suckers. All right, everyone. That's it for this podcast. Thanks again for Zared for joining us. Ryan is in the south of Spain, but he'll be back next week. And Ryan will be back, hopefully, with more video. He can finally do it. Zared, thanks for joining us, and be good. And we'll talk soon. And we'll talk in the trash talking in our WhatsApp group. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been really good, and I can't wait for the trash talking to start, which I'll be
Shut your
a lead
bloody
opponent
mouth.
of. Thanks, Wade.
Thanks, buddy.